And we are back with the GSMC Wrestling Laureate podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. I'm your favorite wrestling fan here, Eric Rodriguez, every Monday night live on the GSMC Sports Network, the GSMC Podcasting Network on YouTube. So make sure you guys Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. Get notifications when we go live and publish new content. We also talk about all the action inside and outside of the ring as well. We talk about promotions from WWE, AEW, TNA, Ring of Honor, and when did we dabble in some wrestling history like ECW, old school TNA, WCW, the WWF. We talk about everything in terms of in terms of professional wrestling. So make sure you guys don't miss out on being a part of this awesome GSMC Sports Wrestling Bloodline. So make sure you guys Superman punch that like and subscribe button to the show. All right, without further ado, let's go and jump on into our next segment. We talked Monday Night Raw. Now we're talking about WWE Smackdown, 1010%. Can't wait to get on into it. But before we get on into any of that, just want to remind you guys to go ahead and hit up that tips and donations link. Also hit up that super chat. Whether if you got a burning question or a hot take in terms of the world of professional wrestling here at the GSMC Sports Network, we do love a lot of peace, love, and positivity, 1010%. But in terms of talking sports, it's inevitable. There's going to be some criticisms. There's going to be some disagreements. Obviously, just want to make sure you guys feel absolutely comfortable to drop anything, what you guys feel like inside that chat. Don't be shy. Drop your thoughts inside that chat. But if you really want to make sure your comment, question, or concern gets noticed, hit up that super chat button. Give what you can. Obviously, if you can't, do not let that discourage you. Participate in the chat 1010%. But the super chats obviously helps the network keep the lights on all these amazing podcasts. All these passionate, enthusiastic, amazing, gifted podcasters we have here on the network that only want to achieve one goal: to make sure you guys consume all the sports content that you guys love so damn much each and every day for absolutely, guess what, FREE, free. So what do you have to lose to subscribe to such an amazing sports network and some podcasters who absolutely value your guys' opinion 1010%. So don't be shy, drop your thoughts inside that chat. We are super grateful for each and every one of you guys who joins us here daily, who subscribes, who is part of the GSMC Sports family. So from the bottom of my heart, absolutely thank you so damn much. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's get this party going, guys, and go on with our second segment. We got WWE Smackdown talk, and I'm excited to talk about Smackdown. It was good. It was, I thought it was pretty awesome. 1010%. I had nothing to, the second Smackdown after WrestleMania. It's I really honestly don't see how WWE is going to be able to put up so much talent with this, with them ditching the 3-hour show in June. We have about one more month of it. And I feel like the tag team division might go back down to what it used to be, which was, I don't want to use bad words or anything, crap. But I feel like the I'm just kidding, no. But overall, I feel like ever since SmackDown moved to 3 hours, you've seen a lot more, you've seen a lot of superstars kind of get theirs. You've seen Naomi with this new, persona of her, having caution tape wrapped around her body and becoming this new entity that is dangerous. She's Pele Grosso. She's absolutely, she's a badass. She's a badass, to say the least. Also, we got Pretty Deadly in the mix as well. Los Garza, Santos Escobar, Rey Fenix. We have a lot. It's just, it is going to be absolutely amazing to find out how WWE is going to keep all these talents relevant with, shifting back to the 2-hour, mark at the beginning of June. But, neither here nor there. We're going to talk about some SmackDown. On Friday Night SmackDown, like I said before, it was a pretty dope show. Honestly, have no gillies behind it. We started off with the confrontation between Damian Priest and the LA Knight. And to be honest, guys, the LA Knight, Damian Priest, I feel like, two of WWE's baby faces. They are. They're, two of the WWE's best baby faces right now. I respect Damian Priest and I love him. I do. I feel like, him as Mr. Money in the Bank was pretty badass. LA Knight is literally staying relevant within the wrestling world because of his catchphrase of, yeah. And WWE knows that. WWE 1010%, they do not want their fans to lose that yeah factor. So, as much as a lot of people feel like LA Knight should turn heel to save his career, I don't think that's the case. I don't think it's going to happen. I feel like, with this new day and age of the Paul Levesque era, I feel like they are adapting, they're kind of mimicking a lot of what their sister company, the UFC, is doing. Obviously, both of them under the TKO holdings. You have UFC fighters who are bad guys, who aren't necessarily bad. They don't play the part. They're a little more confident. They're a little bit more outspoken. They're more in your face than a lot of the, the fans of the fan favorites or the baby faces of whatnot. You gotta let these guys literally go out there and kind of do their own thing. Other than that, how many times do you want to make the audience look silly? You want to make them look dumb. You want to try to pass something past their heads, although the whole time they saw it come into their glove and they caught it. How many times could you fool the fans? And, professional wrestling, especially under the Vince McMahon era, which was absolute garbage, it was awful, which has been kind of dabbling into what it is now. And, a lot of people, WrestleMania 41 was not that great. WrestleMania 40 with Cody Rhodes completed the story. Did Triple H, Paul Levesque just get it? Did he just get lucky? Did he just get lucky? During this Paul Levesque era, is it like, was it really Triple H? Was it really? Or was it everything building up with, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, then Seth Rollins, The Rock, The Undertaker? You can't beat that. It started off with such a great legacy, and now it seems like it's kind of faltering into what it was during the Vince McMahon era. You have, countless superstars without a direction. Damian Priest losing that street match to Drew McIntyre. I love Drew McIntyre, but I feel like Drew McIntyre was kind of already on that heavyweight pedestal, but Damian Priest kind of needed to win a little bit more. You had Jakob Fatu win the WWE United States Championship, which by all means I felt like was a great decision. Obviously, during the match, it was interrupted, and the only person standing tall was the United States champion, Jakob Fatu, who is so over by the fans, by the way. The fans absolutely love themselves some Jakob Fatu. And it's not shocking. It's not shocking that a lot of these wrestling guys who come from independent wrestling circuits, as opposed to these homegrown WWE guys, it just shows that you can definitely have an audience from a different demographic. First and foremost, you can have an audience from, it doesn't necessarily have to be part of that WWE cliche kind of bloodline kind of thing. Once when Jakob Fatu came in, a lot of fans were like, who is this guy? Who is this guy? Why should we care? Solo Sikoa did what he had to do. Solo Sikoa put him on the map, and now Solo Sikoa is using that for basically controlling Jacob. And I feel like at the end of the day, you will see Solo Sikoa and Jacob go at it. I have this belief that Solo Sikoa will drop the United States Championship at Backlash, thanks to Solo Sikoa building up toward a match at SummerSlam. Maybe he does something where he feels like he tries to help Jacob, but at the end of the day, he kind of hits his Achilles heel, or one of those things are like, you're ready to be champion, but you're not just ready yet. And then he goes face to face, and of course all the fans absolutely love Jakob Fatu. So he has a bright future. So I'm not really complaining too much. Next, we have the newly acquired WWE Smackdown tag team Fraxiom, Nathan Frazier and Axiom defeating Pretty Deadly. I thought that was pretty badass. I'm a huge fan of Fraxiom. I am. I'm a Fraxiom fan. I can't help it. These guys inside the ring, absolute magic. They used to go at each other head to head, but NXT was absolutely fire with them as the tag team champions. Hank and Tank, congratulations for winning the NXT tag team championships. But to be brutally honest, I feel like NXT kind of dropped the ball with this one. With Nathan Frazier and Fraxiom, I honestly wanted them to go to Raw because I feel like the SmackDown tag team division. But then again, we do have the draft right around the corner. Nothing's been said, nothing's been mentioned on SmackDown or Raw as of right now, as opposed to last year. Last year, around this same date, we already had the draft going on. Obviously with the buzz with the NFL draft and stuff like that. But a lot of shocking picks. But you can bet Fraxiom by the end of 2025 to be holding a WWE World Tag Team Championships, and I definitely love it. Next, we have a confrontation between Nia Jax and Naomi, and kind of looking at these two girls, absolute They're great. You know, Nia Jax, part of the bloodline, technically. Naomi, part of the bloodline, technically. But it seems like this is the last chance that Naomi really has. You know, she does have her contract ending. You know, it's been, speculated through rumors that she wants to start a family before the age of, I think she's 36 or 37, don't quote me on that. She wants to start a family by the age of 40 with a Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso, SmackDown, I didn't see him. Or maybe he was like their, part of a backstage vignette. Not too sure. But this is going to be Naomi's chance. Naomi, throughout her whole career, play, the Funkadactos. You guys are Brodus Clay. You guys remember those guys. You remember, Naomi being part of the, kind of Divas evolution, so to speak, near the end-ish. And then, you saw her as being like as a steady SmackDown or WWE Raw superstar who was able to put on a good match, to put on a decent stable, to be able to ultimately kind of being, flirting with the championship picture here and there, but not really kind of, getting to it. But this is the last chance Naomi has. And it sucks. It really does suck because I do have a lot of respect for her. And I ultimately feel like she could be a champion. And with this new persona, you saw it at the end of the show. You saw her as the last woman standing, which is pretty awesome. But I doubt she's going to get the championship, and it sucks so damn bad. But hey, it is what it is. Next, we have The Miz taking on Aleister Black. Two superstars that are absolutely, Aleister Black obviously being re-signed by WWE. And then you have The Miz, who's been, desperately seeking like a storyline. I feel like The Miz is highly underestimated. I do. I feel like 1,010%. This was the mid-card match. That match where, it's in the middle of the show. A lot of people kind of take it as, you have the build-up of the show, and then you have the main event, and then right in the middle, smack dab in the middle, you have The Miz. You have Aleister Black, who should damn near be in the main event picture. But this match, in the middle of the show, screamed mid-card title, United States Championship all over it. And it was awful. It was terrible. It was, I didn't like it. You bring back Aleister Black just to be part of this. And then you have The Miz being around in the backstage, putting over superstars. Yeah, that's cool. Go, yeah, Miz, go. You put over superstars. Yes, you go home to a beautiful wife and your family every single time you go home. That doesn't necessarily mean you have, ambitions. That doesn't mean you have goals. That doesn't mean, and The Miz does. The Miz, he has all that. He could definitely be that and a bag of chips. He could be an Intercontinental Champion. He could be the United States Champion. I don't really know what WWE is doing with The Miz at this moment. He's not old. He still has a lot left in the tank. Why you should? I don't know. I feel like they're maybe like, are you burying him for some strange reason? Like, did he get an argument with Michael Hayes in the back? Like, seriously? And Aleister Black too. These two superstars need to be in the heavyweight picture, not just for themselves, but for WWE. These two guys need to be in the heavyweight picture. There's so many guys in the United States Championship picture. It needs to end. And this match should have been the main event, but it wasn't. Why it wasn't? It was awful. It was terrible. But, like I said, I do love to see The Miz. I do love to see Aleister Black back in WWE. I love the stare down. I love the face off between Carmelo Hayes and Aleister Black. I thought that was important for both of their characters heading toward the future. That's probably the best thing that came out of this match. And it sucks to say because I want to see Aleister Black in that main event picture. I want to see The Miz back into that main event picture. But so far, this match in the middle of the show, the way it ended, how it ended, and it just seemed like it screamed the United States Championship picture. And there's so many other guys who are fit for that, and it's not one of these superstars. But, hopefully it all changes. Next, we have Zelina Vega taking on Piper Niven. She defeats her with, much to the chagrin of Chelsea Green. At the end of the match, you saw Chelsea, kind of get involved, which was pretty awesome, although she has not invoked her rematch clause. She recently signed an extension with WWE, so you can expect to see her back Basically you can expect to see her back probably on top of the United States Women's Championship picture, maybe bouncing the title back and forth like Dolph Ziggler and The Miz did. Maybe we see something like that. Next we have Randy Orton. This promo, it served its purpose. Obviously it did. It did what it did. I feel like this upcoming match between Cena and Randy Orton, a lot of people are like, oh my God, this is the best match. This is the best match that Randy Orton and John Cena are ever going to have. And I actually disagree. I highly disagree. The promo between John Cena and Randy Orton, it's just, I feel like both of them kind of know. They're like, this match really isn't going to mean anything. I feel like they're going to be fighting. And much like you kind of saw Randy Orton once when he defended his championship against John Cena, who slapped the referee to intentionally disqualify himself, you're going to see some poetic justice happen between that match at Backlash in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm not trying. Maybe that's the reason why I'm kind of a little cynical about it. Maybe that's the reason why I'm not trying to be, not trying to get excited about it, because I kind of already know how it's going to end. But it is what it is. Like I said, questioning family, Randy Orton's family legacy is a little harsh, but something that I definitely do love is how Ron, the Truth Killings, R-Truth, is standing behind his childhood hero. I want to be like John Cena when I grow up. And then Randy Orton's looking at him, he's like, bro. No, it's funny. Obviously, I feel like there has to be a little bit of comedic value. Rey Fenix and Santos Escobar absolutely tore the house down. It was cool to see Rey Fenix pick up the dub. We had the main event. Jade Cargill teams with the WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton against Nia Jax and Naomi. This match was actually super. It was pretty cool. It was a nice little, Jade got a clean pin. Can't take anything away from her in terms of that. She hit Nia Jax with that super power bomb from the top rope, pinned her 1, 2, 3 clean. Absolutely, defining Jade as a future absolute heavyweight badass within the women's division. After the match, you saw Jade Cargill look at the championship, hold it up, and it seems like she's hungry. She wants a chance at Tiffany Stratton, but the only one standing tall. And I gotta be honest, I love this. I love that Naomi stood strong. She was the last one standing. This is her last chance in WWE to kind of be something more than a fucking Dacto, to be something more than Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill's best friend, to be something more than just that, Bailey, your friends. Like, Naomi needs a legacy to kind of walk off of, and she wants to start her family, like I mentioned before, with Jimmy. She wants to, before the age of 40, she's 37, I believe, 36. Time's ticking. What are you going to do, Naomi? Are you going to, look doubt in the face? Are you going to, go into business on yourself and kind of do something for all these WWE fans to remember you by? Because as of right now, legacy, respect, it's there. But as a champion, no. Naomi will not be in the WWE Hall of Fame. She won't. This is her last chance to lash out and do something. So, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't happen. But, Naomi, if you want to do something right now is your chance, 1,010%. All right, guys, so hey, do not go anywhere. We're going to jump on into our third segment. We got Hulk Hogan's Real American Amateur Wrestling. Is this bad for professional wrestling? What is going on backstage? Is there a chance that him and Eric Bischoff could possibly pull this off? So grab your favorite snack, grab your favorite ice cold beverage, join me here in about 20 seconds. So hey, do not go anywhere.